Two engineers write the exact same SQL query, asking for the exact same result. One query finishes in 200 milliseconds, the other takes 45 seconds and locks up half the database. Same data, same intent, wildly different outcomes. The difference comes down to SQL optimization. For a data engineer, mastering how the database actually executes your code is one of the highest leverage skills you can develop. To understand why, we must look at how SQL differs from a procedural language like Python. In Python, you write exactly how to fetch the data, loop through this file, check each row, and compare the date. SQL is declarative. You state what you want, say all orders over $100 from last month, and leave the implementation to the database. The database decides the specific physical steps required using an internal engine called the query optimizer. You feed in your SQL text, and this system evaluates available paths to output a multi-step physical execution plan. Effective optimization means designing queries and schemas that provide the optimizer with the clearest, most efficient physical pathway to retrieve your data. You can see exactly what the optimizer intends to do by using the explain and explain analyze commands. This allows you to read the database's map before you start changing code. This diagram represents an execution plan. Reading from the bottom up, it exposes the physical operations the database uses to get your data. It shows volume metrics, processing nodes, and how the engine is physically accessing the tables. The most basic access method is the full table scan. Down here at the storage layer, a scanner reads every single row sequentially, from top to bottom, evaluating each one against your query conditions. On a table with a few thousand rows, a sequential scan is near instantaneous. But as the data volume expands to hundreds of millions of rows, the time required to read every record grows exponentially, creating a massive I/O bottleneck. An index-seek avoids this. By maintaining a separate B-tree structure, the database engine can bypass the sequential scan and navigate directly to matching rows. Confirming that your where, join, and order by clauses have supporting indexes is the foundation of performance. Reading the execution plan confirms whether the optimizer is actually using those pathways. Having an index is useless if your query syntax forces the optimizer to ignore it. This concept is called sargability, which stands for search argument able. The most common sargability trap is wrapping an indexed column in a function. If you write where year of order date equals 2026, the execution plan defaults to a full table scan. The database must compute the year function for every single individual row before it can make the comparison. Because the data is being transformed on the fly, the engine cannot use the pre-sorted B-tree structure. You fix this by moving the transformation to the constant value. By comparing the raw order date to a date range literal, greater than or equal to January 1st, 2026, the optimizer goes straight to the index seek. String searches with a leading wildcard, like %Smith%, break index usage for the same reason. Without a starting point in the index, the database scans every row to find matches hidden in the middle of the text. Maintaining sargability ensures your syntax doesn't block the physical pathways your indexes provide to the query optimizer. Moving up the execution tree, the next major performance bottleneck occurs when combining datasets. The database uses several algorithms to join tables. The nested loop join takes every row in table A and checks it against every row in table B. If both tables are large, this n times m operation causes query times to climb. A hash join handles large tables much better. The optimizer builds an in-memory hash map from the smaller table. The data from the larger table then streams through, finding matches without redundant scanning. Joining on unindexed foreign keys often forces the optimizer into these slow nested loops or expensive hash builds. Adding indexes to join columns provides the engine with the fast lookup pathways it needs. There is also a correctness bug that mimics a performance issue: accidental fan-out. If you join tables on keys that are not unique on one side, like joining orders to order items without accounting for multiple items per order, you multiply your output row count. Attempting to fix duplicated rows by adding a distinct or group by clause is a mistake. This masks the underlying cardinality error and forces the database to perform massive unnecessary computation to deduplicate the results. Managing join cardinality and strictly indexing your foreign keys dictates whether combining two large datasets takes a few milliseconds or stalls the database. At the top of the execution plan, we handle projection, your select statements, and aggregation, like group by. Your storage architecture determines how these statements perform. Traditional transactional databases group records physically by row. Modern analytical data warehouses store identical columns physically together. This is why select star is particularly inefficient in a columnar warehouse. It defeats the system's ability to skip unused columns, forcing the database to read every single column block off the disk. Aggregating and sorting data introduces memory constraints. When you run a group by or order by, the database tracks running aggregates by building hash tables or sorting data directly in RAM. When grouped data exceeds available RAM, the database spills to disk. It writes intermediate results to physical storage, which slows query performance significantly. To prevent this, apply filters before joining and aggregating data. This technique, called predicate pushdown, reduces the volume of data early in the execution plan, so less data flows into memory-intensive operations. Be careful with nested subqueries or common table expressions. In some databases, CTEs act as optimization fences that block predicate pushdown, forcing the database to fully materialize results in memory before applying filters. Eliminating irrelevant data early and requesting only specific columns protects the database from exhausting its memory and disk limits. A well-tuned pipeline achieves mechanical efficiency. The query skips irrelevant partitions, seeks matching rows via indexes, joins tables via hash maps, and projects only the required columns. But even an efficient query has a compute cost. If a report requires a complex join and heavy aggregation to run repeatedly, computing it from scratch every time is a waste of resources. You can shift that computation from real-time execution to a scheduled batch process by using materialized views or aggregation tables. This pre-computes the result, making subsequent reads nearly instantaneous. Performance can also degrade because of the database's internal statistics. The query optimizer makes routing decisions based on metadata about table sizes and data distribution. Massive data changes render these statistics outdated. If the optimizer thinks a table is much smaller than it actually is, it may choose a slow query plan until you explicitly refresh the statistics using a command like analyze. Optimization without measurement is guessing. You build an intuition for performance by following a specific loop, establish a baseline with explain, modify a single variable, and measure the result again. Effective SQL optimization gives the query optimizer the clearest physical path to reading the absolute minimum amount of data required to answer your question correctly.